as a sham. The inauguration ceremony is being held at a military parade grounds in the capital Dodoma in an event closed to the public but broadcast live by the state-run TBC. Samia was declared the winner on Saturday with 98% of the vote. She faced little opposition, with key rival candidates either imprisoned or barred from running. International observers have raised concerns about the transparency of the election and its violent aftermath, with hundreds of people reportedly killed and injured. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has convened a closed-door meeting with leaders of the Government of National Unity in Johannesburg, South Africa. The talks aim to resolve recent disagreements and accusations within the coalition. The GNU Clearinghouse, led by Deputy President Paul Mashatile, was established earlier this year to iron out policy differences among the 10 parties. The Democratic Alliance MP, national spokesperson Karabo Hahau.
The relationship between GNU partners can be healthier. The ANC, knowing that they're not in government alone, so it is important to ensure that as a result of that understanding, all political parties within the GNU are able to form a circle around the same table, discuss robustly and honestly on what the modus operandi of government is going to be as far as policy and government objectives are, and that big decisions that take place as far as the direction of the GNU are concerned are on a matter of consensus, as is the case with the statements of intent which we signed and committed ourselves to.
South Africa's former African National Congress Party President Thabo Mbeki says factionalism and careerism in the party are the biggest threats to its survival. Mbeki has called for a complete renewal of all party members, including reapplication for membership and stricter vetting of leaders across all provinces. He says there are anti-revolutionary forces within the party and that change must begin at branch level.
The issue then that is raised about renewal becomes very critically important in terms of the survival of the movement. And in a sense, takes priority over everything else. Because without this instrument, the ANC, we're unable to solve any of our problems. Not a single major problem will solve without this organization called the ANC. Properly organized, ethical, strong, and all of that.
Sudan's Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has confirmed the withdrawal of his forces from the last stronghold in Darfur. This comes as the United Nations sounds the alarm over reports of fresh atrocities by the paramilitary support forces now in full control of the city of Al-Fasher. Naba Muhyiddin reports.
Refugee agency says more than 60,000 people have fled Al-Fasher since the city fell. Doctors Without Borders warned that RSF are blocking displaced people from reaching safety, worsening an already dire humanitarian situation. Aid agencies say insecurity around Al-Fasher is making it nearly impossible to deliver help. The Sudanese government now is urging the UN Security Council to designate RSF as a terrorist group, accusing them of receiving military and financial support from the United Arab Emirates, claims the UAE has denied.
And finally, the Supreme Court in Nepal has ordered a halt to the recall of nearly a dozen ambassadors in a setback for Prime Minister Sushila Karki and her interim government. Karki, a former Chief Justice, was appointed as the country's first woman leader in September after deadly anti-corruption protests recalled 11 ambassadors to countries including China, the United States, Britain and Japan, who were appointed by her predecessor KP Sharma Oli. In seeking the envoy's removal, the government said it was not satisfied with their performance. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Wepe.
SABC News. The African perspective. Celebrate generosity. Celebrate you. Channel Africa. Life with gratitude. Visit our new website or download our new app today. Africa Update. Your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa. Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
In our sports headline, Helen Obiri and Benson Kipruto land top honors in New York. And Afghanistan have completed a clean sweep in Harare. I'll be back with these and other stories at the bottom of the hour.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
Well, thank you to Jwalani Tulongwepe with our news update and Figile Lingwati with our sports headlines. It is 12:07 Central African Time. And we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa on DSTV's audio bouquet channel 802, OpenView channel 628 and on www.channelafrica.co.za as well as on the SABC Plus app available on the Apple and Google Play stores. Now join us in conversation on our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram and subscribe on YouTube at Channel Africa 1. On Facebook at Channel Africa, you can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763 that's 406-9126 hashtag Africa Updates and let us know which country you're in. And if you have any stories that you'd like us to highlight or to focus on, send us an email. It is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call on +2711 714 4459.
Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
Well, today on hashtag Africa Update asks, U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to deploy troops to Nigeria or carry out airstrikes to stop what he called the large number of Christians being killed in Africa's most populous country. Nigeria says it would welcome the move as long as its territorial integrity is respected. Now, Trump has also threatened to cut all aid to the country if it does not intervene quickly. Now, our question to you today is, what is your view on the U.S. now becoming involved in Africa? Share your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763 that's 406-9126 hashtag Africa Update Us.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
Our Sudan's army chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has confirmed the withdrawal of his forces from their last stronghold in Darfur. This comes as the United Nations sounds the alarm over reports of fresh atrocities by the paramilitary rapid support forces now in full control of the city of Al Fasher. Naba Muhyiddin filed this report.
It's been a week since the RSF militia captured Al Fasher city, the capital of North Darfur, and the army's last major stronghold in the region. Satellite images and eyewitnesses reports point to widespread destruction and rising civilian death. The army's withdrawal has left more than 250,000 people, half of them children, trapped under RSF control. Sudan's army chief says the retreat was necessary after months of siege and relentless shelling by the RSF. Aid groups say violence is still unfolding, including mass killings, arrests, and attacks on hospitals. Verified reports suggest at least 2,000 people were killed in the first 2 days after the takeover, among them women, children, and the elderly.
These horrific acts and barbarian killing carried out by the RSF have one purpose. It's a systematic act meant to force civilians to flee their homes in order to disable them from returning soon, in a way to force a demographic change in Darfur region by mobilizing a new society.
The UN Refugee Agency says more than 60,000 people have fled Al Fasher since the city fell. Doctors Without Borders warned that RSF are blocking displaced people from reaching safety, worsening an already dire humanitarian situation. Aid agencies say insecurity around Al Fasher is making it nearly impossible to deliver help. The Sudanese government now is urging the UN Security Council to designate RSF as a terrorist group, accusing them of receiving military and financial support from the United Arab Emirates, claims the UAE has denied.
We are calling on everyone to criminalize the RSF of militia and its leaders and to hold them accountable. What happened in El Fasher and Bara City, northern Kordofan, has been happening in Sudan since April 15th in different regions. We are calling on the world to designate the RSF as a terrorist group.
The war in Sudan began in 2023 when the Sudanese army and the RSF, once allies, turned their guns on each other. Tens of thousands have been killed and nearly 12 million people displaced. The situation in Darfur region is now among the worst yet, and for thousands still trapped there, it's only getting harder to survive. Naba Muhiddin, Port Sudan.
The General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, Solly Mapaila, has condemned the U.S. President Donald Trump's threats to initiate military action against Nigeria. This if they fail to crack down on killings of Christians in the West African nation. Trump also vowed to stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria to eliminate Islamic terrorists targeting Christians. Mapaila was speaking at the SACP's main Red October rally. Zebulon Maine filed this report.
The SACP marked 70 years of Freedom Charter and its unfulfilled goals in the face of the continued struggles of the vast majority. SACP General Secretary Solly Mapaila says the current state of affairs in the country is unacceptable.
We are unhappy about the state of affairs. I mean, the people are living in poverty, inequalities are deepening, there's no work. The right to work is not guaranteed in this country, and it's in the Freedom Charter, this question of the right to work. We should be guaranteeing every person the right to work, and there's enough space in which people can be deployed to work or to function effectively.
According to Mapaila, they are on track to contest elections next year.
We're still going ahead to contest elections as the SACP. Of course, we're engaging with a variety of organizations in some areas. For instance, depending on the outcome of those discussions, we could participate as fronts, because what we're concerned about is not much party political power, it's people's power. When the people can now reclaim back their power and direct that power for their development.
Mapaila didn't mince his words and condemned the recent utterances of U.S. President Donald Trump against another sovereign state.
This is completely unacceptable. We condemn this in the strongest terms possible as the SACP, the violation of international law, the violation of national sovereignty of other countries, the bullying tactics of the United States of America. Terrorism can happen anywhere. It also happened in the United States, despite its fortifications. So he's just using this way to enter Nigeria, as he has done in other countries, whether it's Iran and other parts of the Middle East and Latin America, Cuba, for instance.
The SACP says engagement with its alliance partners and other formations will continue ahead of next year's elections. I'm Zebulon Maine in Alabama near Klerksdorp, Northwest.
It is 15 after 12 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. A Tunisian court has sentenced prominent government critic and former judge Ahmed Sawab to 5 years in prison after convicting him on charges linked to comments seen as threatening the judiciary. His lawyers say the verdict reflects mounting political pressure on the court under President Kais Saied, whose critics accuse him of tightening his grip on power since 2021. For more on this, we are joined by a Tunisia-based correspondent, Imen Bliwa. Imen, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, Lulu. Thank you for having me.
Now, let's start with the ruling. What more do we know about the charges against Ahmed Sawab, and what led to his 5-year sentence?
Thank you for bringing that up. Actually, in his first court session, Ahmed Sawab was sentenced, which is weird when it comes to court regulation and so on. Ahmed Sawab did not commit any physical act. He was charged under the anti-terrorism law and decree law number 54 solely for a statement. He just criticized the judiciary system. He said literally, and I'm quoting, that he thinks that judges are being threatened instead of people who are like accused, and he mentioned the word with knives to their necks, referring to the judges. So that was his crime. That was led to a sentence of 5 years. He was accused of endangering the lives of protected person by deliberately disclosing information that could reveal them, and he was also accused of making threats punishable under criminal law related to the terrorism offense. What led to the accusation is him mimicking the act of throat slitting. So that was his accusation. His crime was not a physical one. He was accused of a threat under the anti-terrorism law, like most of the accused political leaders or the judicial system employee right now. So basically, he said words such as working with knives to their throat, and he mimicked the act in a video that he posted voluntarily, and for that he's now sentenced with a primary sentence to 5 years.
Now, he's long been a vocal critic of President Kais Saied. How has this verdict been received among Tunisians and within the legal community?
Yes, so he's a critic and a vocal critic that is who is criticizing Kais Saied. So I believe he expected such a sentence, and the people around him who was supporting him also were not surprised that such a thing happened to him. The legal community is shocked by the condition of the trial. Mr. Sawab was not allowed to be physically present in this court. Instead, he was there through a screen, an online session that he refused. And they said he was getting an online court session for security reasons. He refused to be there through an online session because he could be there physically. This did not stop the court from sentencing him right in his first court. The legal community is condemning the interference of the political decision maker in the judicial system. They are saying that this is not a fair court. This is not a correct court. The lawyer said, his lawyer said that he was not heard. He did not get the chance to defend Mr. Sawab. So they're all saying that it is unfair, it was rushed out, it was manipulated in all ways.
Now, this ruling comes as several NGOs have been suspended for alleged foreign funding. Are we seeing a broader clampdown on dissent and civil society in Tunisia?
Well, the ruling is not about those NGOs. It's more related to people who are loudly criticizing the regime, but some see it is as part of a wider crackdown of dissent in Tunisia. It has been the way since 2021. It has been the way, and people are being silenced more often. People are avoiding statement, and it's especially from the judicial system. I have been reporting a lot of violation, a lot of judges that has been sentenced and kicked out from their position. So it's not new to the judicial system, but it is shocking that their independence is being put in question.
And just with opposition leaders like Rashid Khanouchi and Abir Musi still in detention, what does this latest case say about Tunisia's political direction under President Saied?
Yes, indeed, the case might highlight Tunisia's growing authoritarianism. It is clear now to the world and to Tunisian, at least the most of them, that the current regime is not the democratic one. There is an outrage going on, especially in the street. People are trying to get their right back to speak and to criticize the system, while others, there are many supporters of the current regime that are saying that this is a fair case, that protect judges from being threatened, or from like having that kind of influence, that they are not safe to say their word and to announce their sentences. However, it is clear picture that this is an unfair situation, where everyone who could say a word, even on a social media, even posting a video or something official, even if he is a judge, thinking that he might be protected by the law and by his position, he could face a sentence of 5 years. The lawyer is saying that they will have a parole, and they will ask for more investigation, ask for a fair hearing, and that this will not stop there. But it is clear to the world that it's not a fair sentence, and it was rushed out, especially like he was only one session, and he got a sentence of 5 years. That doesn't make any sense for the investigation, neither for the court case.
Well, Iman, we are going to have to leave it there for today. Thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Okay, thank you for having me.
That's our Tunisia-based correspondent, Iman Blewa, bringing us insight into the sentencing of Ahmed Souab, a prominent critic of President Kais Saied, ending that discussion. It is 23 after 12 Central African time.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa One. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa One. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
It is 25 after 12 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Today on Hashtag Africa Update Ask, US President Donald Trump has threatened to deploy troops to Nigeria or carry out airstrikes to stop what he called the large number of Christians being killed in Africa's most populous country. Nigeria says it would welcome the move as long as its territorial integrity is respected. Trump has also threatened to cut all aid to the country if it does not intervene quickly. Now, our question to you today is, what is your view on the US now becoming involved in Africa? Share your thoughts on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa One, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763 as 406 9126 hashtag Africa Update Us.
Siyabangena manje. Vito Jablan Kolele Imagoda. Jablan is a young man from Giyani in Limpopo in South Africa. Very easy guy, taking things easy. To know me is to know that I love what I do, which I'm crazy about it. So when you hear me on radio, expect the best. Expect great music. Expect great content. Expect 180 minutes of nothing but fun. You'll find me on the morning reset, 3 to 6 a.m., Monday to Friday. Siyabangena baba. Ay. Mbuleke.
Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights. with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has convened a closed-door meeting with leaders of the Government of National Unity in Johannesburg in South Africa. And the talks aim to resolve recent disagreements and accusations within the coalition. The GNU clearinghouse, led by Deputy President Paul Mashatile, was established earlier this year to iron out policy differences among the 10 parties. DAMP and National Spokesperson Karabo Gagau on the meeting underway with the leaders of the GNU.
The relationship between GNU partners can be healthier. That the toxicity that we have can well be managed by one simple thing, knowing the ANC, knowing that they're not in government alone, and that even though they are the largest party within the GNU, that they do not represent the majority of the people. They do not represent a total absolute majority of the voter shares of representation in parliament and in government. And so it is important to ensure that as a result of that understanding, that all political parties within the GNU are able to form a circle around the same table, discuss robustly and honestly on what the modus operandi of government is going to be as far as policy and government objectives are, and that big decisions that take place as far as the direction of the GNU are concerned are taken on a matter of consensus, as is the case with the statement of intent which we signed and committed ourselves to. And if there isn't 100% consensus, that we would have a sufficient consensus, which means 60% of the parties represented there would agree. The retreat is a step in the right direction, which is quite frankly long overdue, because in order for the GNU to have a shared vision, the leaders of the political parties represented in the GNU were meant to have had rigorous conversations, even from the onset, on what it is that we're trying to achieve. So it's good that we're finally here, that we're able to have a retreat and find balance with each other. And the only thing that can come out of such engagement is a more healthier and stable government for the people of the country, which they need.
And that was DAMP and National Spokesperson Karabo Gagau ending that report. It is 29 after 12 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa on DSTV's audio bouquet channel 802, OpenView channel 628, and on www.channelafrica.co.za, as well as on the SABC Plus app, available on the Apple and Google Play stores. Our news headlines up next with Jwalani Tulongwepe.
SABC News Headlines. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Lulu. Good afternoon. Making headlines. Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan is being sworn in today for a second term. This follows an election marred by violent protests and rejected by the opposition as a sham. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has convened a closed-door meeting with leaders of the Government of National Unity in Johannesburg, South Africa. And finally, the Supreme Court in Nepal has ordered a halt to the recall of nearly a dozen ambassadors in a setback for Prime Minister Shushilya Kaki and her interim government. I will have details on these and other stories at 1 o'clock.
SABC News Headlines. The African Perspective. Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
And we start off with cricket news this hour. Afghanistan have completed a clean sweep in Harare. A blistering 159-run opening stand between Lulu Gaboo and Ibrahim Zadran laid the foundation for a commanding 9-run win over Zimbabwe in the third and the final T20. Gaboo smashed 92, Zadran added 60, and Sedikula Atal chipped in with a rapid 35 not out as the visitors posted a daunting 210 for 3. Zimbabwe showed fight. Brian Bennett's 47 and Sikandar Raza's 51 kept hopes alive with an 85-run third wicket stand. But it wasn't enough. The hosts were bowled out for 201 on the final ball of the match. Afghanistan take the series 3-0, sealing it with power, precision and poise. Some more cricket news. South Africa's Proteas women coach Mandla Mashimbi has made a bold claim that they will win the World Cup in the near future, following a final heartbreak last night as they fell short of a historic victory. They'll have to wait a few more years to try again after they lost to a tournament co-host India by 52 runs at the D.Y. Patil Sports Complex in Navi Mumbai in front of a packed partisan crowd.
Laura has shown a great deal of fortitude in terms of our mental fortitude and in terms of talent and in terms of how she led the team as well. And she's also grown in this tournament, and that's why I'm saying going forward this team will be even better, will be even stronger. The tight unit will be even stronger as well. So yeah, I've got no doubt, in the next World Cup we'll give it a good go.
Although they did not win the trophy, the coach believes this is just the beginning of what South African cricket can offer the world. When asked about the administrative issues that affected the sport in recent years, he stated that these challenges are now behind them.
Sometimes things have to go wrong to go right, and I think that was the case. You need to get perspective in everything, But in terms of the talent that's coming through in South African cricket in both men and women, it's actually quite scary. Obviously, IC20 added to that as well. But yeah, I can just say the future of South African cricket looks bright.
And now into marathon. The New York City Marathon made history on Sunday with a course record set in the women's competition and the closest race ever on the men's side, which was decided by a fraction of a second. Helen Obiri of Kenya broke the women's record, while compatriot Benson Kipruto won the men's race by edging Alexander Mutiso by 300th of a second. Kipruto and Mutiso separated themselves from the chase pack in the men's race heading into the 24 kilometers. Kipruto, who was running the New York race for the first time, finished in 2 hours, 08.40 seconds. Obiri, who also won the race in 2023, finished in 2 hours, 19 minutes and 51 seconds. She was running with 2022 winner Sharon Lokedi until Obiri pulled away from her countrymate in the final mile, surging ahead and winning easily by 16 seconds to the best previous course record set by Margaret Ogayo in 2003. Let's end with tennis news. Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner will play an exhibition match in South Korea in January, just 8 days before the start of the Australian Open. The duo will meet in the Hyundai Card Super match in Incheon on the 10th of January, with the Australian Open main draw getting underway in Melbourne on the 18th of January. The pair, who met in 3 of the 4 Grand Slam finals in 2025, have won 9 of the past 10 majors titles between them. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figile Ngwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Business news on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Good
afternoon. I'm Nosipho Zuma. In your business news this hour, Mozambique's President Daniel Chapo has indicated that his government may challenge the revised budget and timeline submitted by French energy giant Total Energies for its liquefied natural gas, which is LNG projects in the country. The company recently informed President Chapo that the Mozambique LNG Consortium now expects the project's cost to have risen by $4.5 billion following a 4-year suspension triggered by an Islamist militant attack in 2021. Channel Africa's economics reporter Innocent Simosa reports.
Total Energies and its partners want the development and production period extended by 10 years as partial compensation. Looking at cost implications, but how might the proposed $4.5 billion increase in project costs affect Mozambique's projected revenues and broader economic benefits from the LNG project?
Chevron will explore for oil and gas offshore Guinea-Bissau and 2 blocks in the MSGBC basin. The Mauritania, Senegal, Gambia, Bissau and Conakry, or MSGBC basin, is a geological region in West Africa major focus for the oil and gas sector following major recent discoveries. Chevron's local unit will be the operator of blocks 5B and 6B with a 90% working interest in both. Guinea-Bissau's national oil company, Petroquin, holds the remainder. South Africa's manufacturing sentiment deteriorated in October, dragged down by subdued domestic demand and sluggish exports. The seasonally adjusted PMI, sponsored by South African bank ABSA, fell to 49.2 49.2 points in October from 50.8 in September, highlighting the fragility of the manufacturing recovery. A reading below 50 indicates decreased activity. The business activity sub-index dropped by 5 points to 49.4, marking the 9th month this year it has been in contractionary territory. A new report by a UN-sponsored organization says high levels of inequality, both between and within countries, make the world more vulnerable to pandemics. It says pandemics, in turn, cause more inequality. The report has called on richer countries to invest in healthcare while restructuring debt to allow poorer governments to spend more on healthcare too. France's manufacturing sector contracted less than initially reported in October, but remain in a state of weakness during the opening month of the fourth quarter as output in new orders saw further marked decreases. The final HCOB France Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, which is the PMI compiled by S&P Global, rose to 48.8 last month from 48.2 in September, and also up versus the 48.3 flash figure. Aside from August 2025, when it stood at 50.4, the manufacturing PMI index has remained below the 50.0 threshold that separates growth from contraction since January 2023. Your financial indicators: one US dollar in Nigeria is trading at 1,436 naira, and Botswana is 13 pula 70. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 20, and in Zambia it's 22 kwacha 08. The BRICS countries: $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 ruble 38. Russia is 78 rubles 55. India is 82 rubles 80, China is 7 yuan 12, and in South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rand 31. $1 is trading at 76 pence to the British pound and 87 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,018 and platinum at $16,002 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $65.08 a barrel. Now, for any business news stories you would like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I'm Nosipho Zuma.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Channel Africa is evolving, and so are you. Stay connected wherever you are with our brand new website and mobile app. Stream your favorite shows, catch up on African news, culture, and conversations, all at your fingertips.
Africa is just a tap away.
Your world, your stories, now on the go.
Stay connected wherever you are.
Visit channelafrica.co.za or download the Channel Africa app today. Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Your window to the continent and beyond. Africa Update, only on Channel Africa. Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
Well, thank you to Nosipo Zuma with our business news. It is 12:42 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. The Madlanga Commission is underway. We now go there and hear what the testimony is going forward. Let's take a listen.
And that one is a section. That will make the 6.
Thanks. And can you tell us what does TOMS do?
They are also similar to the other support. They also don't investigate. These are the teams that we use to escort prisoners from court to the prison. We use them if we get inquiries from Interpol of wanted fugitives, we task them to do that. We also task them in the general searching of suspects, wanted suspects that we are looking for. And we also use them to transport valuable either assets or maybe if we want to transport gold, they will be escorting it to forensic so that it arrives there. So there's more of giving the backup to the real operational environments that investigate cases.
Would they also be responsible for takedown operations?
Yes.
And who is the section head of TOMS?
It's Brigadier Mukwena.
And who does he report to?
He reports to me.
Directly?
Yes.
Okay. And who do you report to?
I report to the national head.
And in December 2024, who was that?
That would have been General Libya.
Okay. And who is it now?
We don't have one now. There's an acting. It's General Nkosi.
Okay. At paragraph 4 of your statement on page 2, you deal with the events of 6 December 2024. Can you tell us about your involvement in those events?
On the 6th, we were having the Excellence Awards, and the venue was in the east of Pretoria. The place is called Deep and Dibara. And the actual ceremony should have started about 5 p.m. At about, I would say, maybe 3:45, I was contacted by General Libya, who wanted to know if I am aware of an operation in Sandton. And he continued to say the reason he's asking me is because he has received a call. And the call stated that there are members of the DPCI who are alleged to have been sent by him, who are at an address. We did not mention the address at the time, but it would have been in Sandton.
Did
General Libya say who he had received the call from?
No, he did not.
Did you ask him?
No, I did not ask him. Then I went to make inquiries. Fortunately, all the commanders were at the venue. So I would have asked the three, the operational ones, the organized crime, the commercial crime, and the corruption team, to say, do you have an operation in that area? And they all said, no, they don't. I then went to...
Sorry, General, you say you would have asked the three. Did you ask the three?
Yes, I asked the three. Okay. After that, when they all said they don't have an operation that is ongoing in Sandton, I then proceeded to Mukwena to ask him, does he have an operation?
And that was Lieutenant General Dumisani Mboto, who is the current witness who has taken the stand at the Madlanga Commission. It is 12:47 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa.
Channel Africa.
Your Africa, your voice, your channel. Channel Africa.
The African perspective.
Factionalism and the African National Congress members' careerism are the biggest threat to the party's survival. This word of caution from former state and party president Thabo Mbeki. Mbeki called for a complete renewal of all party members, including reapplication for membership and stricter vetting of provincial leaders. He was speaking at the ANC Veterans League's political school in the Nelson Mandela Bay. The veterans also presented proposals to strengthen the organization and address internal party divisions. Sisipo Ngumbe has more.
A warning from one of the ANC's most senior voices. Mbeki says there are anti-revolutionary forces within the party and that it cannot solve the country's challenges unless it renews itself and restores ethical leadership. He says change must begin at a branch level.
The issue then that is raised about renewal becomes very critically important in terms of the survival of the movement. And in a sense takes priority over everything else. Because without this instrument, the ANC, we're unable to solve any of our problems. Not a single major problem we'll solve without this organization called the ANC. Properly organized, ethical, strong, and all of that.
The Veteran League's political school discussed the party's declining electoral support. ANC veteran Tami Ndendeni says one of the reasons behind that is the quality of leadership within the party.
Being in power is rapidly becoming a source of political bankruptcy in that members of the ANC fight for deployment either as councillors, MPLs, and MPs, respectively, as if there is no tomorrow. It is foreign to our movement for comrades to see deployment as a source of material benefit rather than the reason to serve the people.
The meeting also heard that regional instability in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro has been fueled by leadership disputes. Mayor and ANC regional chairperson Babalwa Lobishe says they have committed to the renewal program going forward.
Evocation of whether we want to move forward with the organization as it is and not yield positive results, or whether we want to change. And I think our general commitment was that all of us, we agreed to a pledge of renewal. And in that renewal, it means that we will have to do away with factions because they are not political factions. They are things we do not know.
The Veterans League proposed a national renewal program that includes reapplication for membership, stricter vetting of leaders, and expanded political education across all provinces. Sisipo Ngumbe, SABC News, Gqeberha.
Ready to connect, innovate, and be inspired? It's all happening at Africa's Tech Festival, where Africa's technology meets the world. From the 10th to the 13th of November in Cape Town, Join global leaders, investors, and innovators driving the future of Africa's digital economy. Don't miss the continent's biggest week in tech. Get your pass now at africatechfestival.com.
Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
It is 12:51 Central African Time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. The former African Union chairperson, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, has called for greater African unity and self-reliance, urging governments, religious institutions and citizens to embrace a shared continental identity. Speaking at the third Cairo's public lecture at UNISA in Pretoria, Dr. Dlamini-Zuma said South Africans must stop seeing fellow Africans as foreigners and instead collaborate to boost intra-African trade, skills development and inclusive growth. She added that Africa should no longer be a victim of exploitation, but act as a moral conscience for the world. Channel Africa's reporter, Michael Mbewe, has more.
Jointly hosted by UNISA and the Fortloza Foundation, the third Cairo's public lecture represented a critical intellectual and moral engagement with the continuing relevance of the Cairo's tradition in contemporary political and theological discourse. It emerged from the prophetic witness of the 40th anniversary of the 1985 Cairo's document, which called on the Church to discern and confront systemic injustice, and also reclaims Kairos as a hermeneutical lens through which the present crises of humanity may be interpreted. In her address, former AU chairperson Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma emphasized the urgent need for Africa unity, self-reliance, and a shared prosperity and continental identity through the Church.
The continent has fully embraced South Africa. Remember, it had isolated it, boycotted it. Now it has fully embraced South Africa, and South Africa is fully integrated in the continent. And this moment requires unity of the continent. How can both government and the church advocate for this unity of the continent? And also, Africa is involved in intra-Africa trade, skills revolution. The church used to be very good in skills once upon a time, education and all that. And if we promote intra-Africa trade and a skills revolution, this will contribute towards eradication of poverty and inequality.
Dr. Dlamini-Zuma urged Africans to embrace a shared continental identity, reminding South Africans that they are part of a larger African family. She said the Church can help foster this unity, stressing that Africa's 1.4 billion people represent a vast common market and shared destiny.
So how can the Church contribute to us realizing that we are Africans? We're not South Africans. We're Africans who live in South Africa. There is a difference. We're first Africans. We happen to live in South Africa. And some people don't believe that. And as Africans, we are 1.4 billion plus. Can you imagine if you were a businessman or woman with a market of 1.4? But if you think you're South African, it's only 60 million. So we're Africans who live in South Africa. And all Africans must recognize that they are Africans living in Nigeria, Africans living in Kenya, but Africans. And also, our fortunes as Africans are intertwined. There can be no island of prosperity in the sea of poverty. We must all prosper.
Boldly, Dlamini-Zuma also challenged South Africans to rethink how they view fellow Africans, noting that most tourists to the country come from within the continent. She said Africans should never see each other as foreigners, urging the continent to move from dependency to dignity to become a moral conscience of the world, rich in its own resources and capable of giving rather than begging.
But I also want to remind us as South Africans that in 2024, 76% of tourists that arrived on our shores came from the continent of Africa. But what do you call them? Foreigners. How can they be foreigners here? And then we call others tourists. We call Africans foreigners. That's wrong. Africa must no longer be a victim of extraction and exploitation. Africa must become a moral conscience of the world, a continent that heals rather than bleeds, that gives rather than begs. Why should we be beggars? There's no power in a begging hand. And we don't need to beg, really, as a continent. We have everything that everyone needs, if only we're to take charge.
In a message of support, UAE Ambassador to South Africa, Mahash Saeed Al-Hamel, praised South Africa's leadership role in the continent, citing its strength in infrastructure, education, and aviation. He urged the country to continue investing in its youth and innovation sectors, noting that over 124,000 South Africans are contributing across various fields, including artificial intelligence in the UAE.
We believe that in South Africa is leading Africa, no doubt. Infrastructure, educations, aviations, and so on. So I will be so careful when I give credit to South Africa, but South Africa is leading Africa. If South Africa focus more now on the youth, both male and female, and building up their airspace, including the airlines, the education. And also I want to mention something, maybe it's here before. We have 124,000 South African women and men, which is also serving not as a labor, but in every sector of countries, including AI.
Michael Mbewe, Channel Africa News, Johannesburg.
Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
It is 12:58 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Just a recap of what we covered today on Africa Update. We focused on the Madlanga Commission. It is underway, and a number of witnesses testifying and speaking of the day, I think it's the 6th of December last year, where they were at Katiso Mulifa's property, where there was an arrest that was happening, and they speak. All the different witnesses are speaking of what they were doing, what their role was, and it's quite interesting. One witness has been requested to come back to the commission because there are some discrepancies when it comes to his testimony, and so a lot unfolding there. And Tebogo Kuleni is here of the Upside team. Good day, and happy Monday. How are you today?
Happy Monday to you too, Lulu. I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Here's what's coming up on the Upside this afternoon. We get into conversation about the 2025 Responsible Gambling Summit, and we'll talk about the realities faced by a lot of individuals who are struggling when it comes to gambling addiction. We explore the human side of gambling, and now especially with a lot of companies asking for gambling ads to be removed from mainstream. That's going to be an interesting conversation. We'll be unpacking that. And then the 3rd annual Autism Family Picnic is around the corner, uniting families, friends and allies in celebration of neurodiversity. That's all coming up on the Upside.
That's the Upside coming up at the top of the hour with Tebogo Kuleni and Matseko Musito. For myself, Lulu Gaboo and the Africa Update team, it's been a good day. Let's do this again tomorrow. Continue with us on our socials, and thank you to the team. That's our producer Tracy Bumgard, technical operator Dumela Mukwena, and social media talent Butelezi and Sfiso Hlope. Let's do this again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
SABC News. The African Perspective.